Hi, Andrew. My name is Nicolette. I am the creator for the podcast titled You're Worthless. Read that again. The juxtaposition of your very soul. So thank you very much today for saying yes to be interviewed. When I read your profile, I'm like, okay, I can resonate because I myself, I'm still working a 9 to 5, but I am transitioning out to my own practice. So I'm working towards hypnotherapy. So it's kind of it's kind of a big move because I've been in corporate for about 15 years and now and that's in accounting. So my background is accounting and now moving into psychology. So it's a big jump. So and that's why I mean having you on board, we can share some stories and then maybe have some of your tips. So
Yeah,
yeah.
well, congratulations for that too. That it definitely is a big move. Yeah, congratulations for that.
Thank you. You know, every time people say congratulations to me, it's like just to reaffirm that okay, you're making this move like there's no turning back. And
Yeah,
it's exciting and scary. So I don't want to say but and scary. So
and scary.
and
Yeah,
yeah, and you know the thing is now that I'm learning in psychology, whatever you think of will become a reality. So they say rather than you say scary, you might as well say excited, right? So
yeah, it's great. Sometimes you can get it confused. You got that knot in your stomach. You don't know if it's am I anxious or am I excited. You don't know.
that's
Yeah,
right, that's right. Yeah. So okay, I'm gonna read a bit of an introduction to our listeners today, and then we can go straight into our conversation.
love it.
So hi everybody, we have Andrew Beaulieu
Yeah,
here, who is a founder of Bold Moves Coaching and Consulting. He is a dedicated career transition coach, leveraging upon his personal experience of leaving a family business to spark his entrepreneurial journey. He now empowers others to make similar bold moves. Known as the Bold Moves Catalyst, Andrew aids individuals to unlock their limitless potential and successfully navigate career transitions. Having personally navigated the complex path of leaving a family to spark his own journey, he understands the challenges and rewards of career transitions firsthand. Um, by having him on this episode today, he hopes that the listeners here will gain valuable tools to navigate their professional transition, ultimately leading to a more fulfilling and successful life. Wow, we need more people like you. Because a
thank you.
lot of people out there, they've been I don't know, I'm a millennial, so looking at my dad who is a baby boomer, they can actually just stick to one field for I think 35 years already. I'm like when I tell him like okay, I want to make this move, it just baffles him like why can't you just stick to your own field? I'm like, we're not the same. But yeah.
I had a
So,
similar situation with my father where he said when I sat him down to say I was leaving the company, his
right.
words were he paused and then he said, "I don't understand it, but okay." And I was like,
Okay.
"Okay, that's I'll take it.
That's
I'll take
yeah,
it.
yeah.
I
But
don't understand it."
if you've been in the business for 16 years already.
Yeah, so when I never wanted to work in the family business, quite frankly. My dad started the table from our dining room table when I was 7, 30 years ago this year. I'm going to be 37 soon. And
Whoa.
yes, I'm also a millennial, so I'm right there with you.
Oh yeah.
Uh,
So we
and
can yeah, we can resonate. Yeah.
Absolutely. And but after college, I went through school, went through college, and I never had a path. Like I never knew what I wanted to be when I grew up. I didn't have that, passion that I knew from a young age that I was going to do this. I never had that in my life. And through our school system, I never discovered what that was,
Mm.
the traditional school system. And after college, I needed to make a little bit of money for my summers to hang out with my friends and do what normal 20-year-olds do. And I was there for 16 years. It wasn't a summer job. I showed up one day and I
May I
kind of
know the nature of business of that
it
that
was
family business?
it was a general contracting business. So it was a construction business, and they built retail spaces, the interior fit up of retail spaces across Canada. So you're
Right.
always working in different markets, all different time zones. And I fell in love with the rush of it all. I fell in love with the adrenaline that you get in that business because everything in retail construction is very fast paced. It's not year long contracts. You're talking about a month and a half, 2 months, 3 months max, and you're out. So they're
Mm.
very fast paced. You're doing high volume, and I fell in love with that rush of meeting the client's needs, and I was good at it. And that kind of when you find and a lot of people are going to resonate this when they find something that they're good at, they think, oh, this is what I'm supposed to
This
be doing.
is what I should be doing.
This is it, right? So I found my career because I'm good at this, but that's not the case. That's not always the case, anyways. And the second thing I discovered while I was there was that I really liked working with people. I was a manager at a young age. I quickly
Mm.
adopted a servant leadership style. I always loved helping my team, and I was young, right? I was 23 when I became a manager. I was working. My first employee
That was
was
so
50.
young. 23.
So,
I think I 23. Where was I? Just I think 5 years into the corporate world. Okay.
yeah, so it was quick, and my first employee was 20 years my senior. So I quickly had to adopt, and yeah, so I quickly adopted the servant leadership style. But what I came to discover really fast is when people come to work, they bring their personal. Like it is, we are people, and we're human beings, and we
Yeah.
have lives. I mean, I was 23.
Yeah.
I didn't have much of a life. I lived with my parents.
Right.
I was just starting, and here I am dealing with emotionally complex situations with people
Mm.
who have much more life experience than me. And so I had to adapt and I had to challenge myself to be able to meet them where they were, right? And that was a pivotal moment for me in my career because I quickly learned that being a manager and being a leader are two different things.
Yeah.
You can tell someone how to do their job, but leading someone and being there for them to be emotionally supportive and
That's right.
help them through their professional and personal challenges was really meaningful. And I thrived in that. I really enjoyed that.
Mm.
But I stayed at it. I said, oh, I'm good at this. I'm going to keep going down this path. And it wasn't really until the pandemic that
Oh.
got to come home. I've been with my wife for 20 years this year. So I've been with my wife since high school.
Wow. Congratulations. That's 2 decades.
Yes, it's over half my life for sure.
Wow.
We're
Yes.
celebrating our 12th wedding anniversary this year. So we've been married for 12 years. And we have two young daughters who are 7 and 6 right now. And
Oh.
so you can imagine at the pandemic 4 years ago, they were much younger. And so when I came home, I had a kind of like a moment, an epiphany that I'm missing way too much of my children's lives.
Mm.
Um, I got to sit with, I really don't, I'm still not passionate about construction. I'm good at it. I'm still not passionate about construction. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. And so my wife kind of told me, like, call your life coach. I was working with a coach for many years and I called her and I said, I need to make a change.
I need help.
And so we went through a whole process of career counseling and doing the psychometric evaluations to find out what I would really be good at given my skill sets and my values, right, as a human being. And I discovered that coaching would be a potential avenue. So, and that's really taking the thing I love the most about the company, which was the people, and making that my primary focus. So I said, let's give it a try. And so my first move was saying yes to change, yes to taking that first step. I resigned before enrolling in any programs. I knew that I had to sever my safety net, right? That
Yeah,
safety net.
yeah, so that there is no the only way is forward. There is nothing like, okay, if this fails, then I can go back here, and that often that restricts people from putting both their feet into the new thing, which is yeah.
Well, it's understandable. I mean, we want to be comfortable. We want to feel safe, and the
Yeah.
known is definitely feels more
It's
safe than the unknown,
familiar. Yeah.
but it's not necessarily more fulfilling,
That's true.
and that's a big differentiator. So yeah, that was a little bit of my transition into coaching, and I just turns out I love it. I absolutely thrive in the environment. I really enjoy working again with people, but in a different capacity than I ever had before because I was more of a mentor back in the corporate world. Now a coach approach is very different, where we show up in service of our clients and we don't know the answers. We don't assume to know the answers, and we stay present and listen to understand where the individual is coming from and what challenges they're facing, and help them with pointed questions. And it's a partnership more than anything. And it's a beautiful process and it's very effective. It's very effective. That's one thing I can say is um, I, I'm in love with the craft, and I feel like it could really be of service to so many people. I believe everyone should have a therapist and everyone should have a coach. I think these are the two things that everyone in the world would benefit from, because we all have traumas that we need to deal with, but we all need forward movement, which is what coaching does.
Fantastic. So yeah, you were saying during the pandemic 2020, that's when you decided, okay, I'm gonna transition into coaching fully, full time. And you've had your own life coach for how long already at the
So
time?
clarification, I only left the family business last year. This is my
Ah,
first year in full practice.
right. Okay.
I in 2020 I had my realization. In 2022 I resigned. Spring of 2022, I joined my program in the fall of 2022, and it was a 1 year program. So they had asked me to stay to help with the transition as well. I was an owner at the time. So when I left the company, I was actually the acting vice president of the business. My father had retired, and me and my two brothers took over the his portion of
Oh,
the business. So I was an owner.
right.
On top of on top of leaving a family business and career translating, I was also an owner operator. I was the signing
Oh,
officer of the company, so I was the head of administration and finance.
right.
So it was a big hole. So I gave him 2 year notice, which worked for me because I got to build my practice on my time and work full time for them.
Mm-hmm.
And January was really my first month full effort for Bold Moves coaching. So it's relatively new, but it's not at the same time because I've been doing it for a long time, and my experience comes with me. And that's one thing.
Yeah.
It took me a while to realize that 16 years of experience doesn't go away. It wasn't for nothing.
Yes.
That follows
Yes,
you.
yes, yes. That's the exact same thing. Like when the thing that's pushing me to do this. I mean, I have about 15 years experience behind me too. And Nicolette, you can do this. But the thing is, in Asia, you see, the people that I have interviewed, they all have somehow live coaches along the way. And right now, for me, it's like there's no like one person. You get advice from different people, but it's good to have that one person to actually help you. And when you said therapist, that's the trauma and the healing, and the coaching is when it's already you're healing, and then you are making that changes so that it can manifest into your real life. And I think that's something that I want to look into as well. So therapy and then couple it with coaching. So, but it's in the works, and I don't want to overwhelm myself at this point. And I'm talking to as many people as I can. This is my let me see. I started podcasting June, and now in March. So I'm getting pretty good at it, and I don't have that nervousness before any interview already. So yeah, it's yeah, as I'm listening to people like yourself or all other guests, it's like okay, because it's scary, We Asian, we have a very different mindset thinking, in comparison to the Westerners. But yeah, well, nothing. If I could go through things before this one, I should be able to. So
Yeah.
yeah. Yes, I would want to ask because I wanted to ask you a question on what was it like growing up as Andrew Beaulieu. But you pretty much told us, shared with us the story. But is there anything else that you wanna, highlight or share? Like, what was it like when your dad asked you to take over and stuff like that?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question. So I'm the youngest of four siblings.
Mm.
7 years difference between my oldest brother and myself. So I have a sister who's a nurse, or was a nurse actually. She recently just started working for the family business right as I was leaving. Funny enough.
Oh, so
Um,
she's
there was a small couple of week period where the four of us were all there. So there's
right.
four of us. And me and my two brothers worked for the company basically right out of school, worked our way up, and we worked with a change management coach who became my life coach. So the change management coach was hired by the company to prepare me and my two brothers to take over my father's portion of the business. It's a 50-50 partnership. And so
Wow.
me and my brothers took over 50%. But my father never wanted his kids to work in construction. He always said, I want you guys to go figure out your own things and do your own things. And my sister did, and she went to nursing. And but me and my brothers, I guess we didn't listen, and we kind of showed up, and he was kind enough to give us the opportunity to work there. I mean, obviously, we didn't need to interview. You kind of have that foot in the door because of your last name, but my father is a traditional man, and he kept us there because we worked hard and we earned our place. And
Right.
because his partner is not family related,
Mm.
even though I've known him my whole life,
Right.
he could have stopped it along the way. But we were earning our stripes. We were earning our way up the corporate ladder. And again, there was no pressure from him. And when he sat us down and said, "Do you guys want to become the owners?" He offered obviously his shares to his partner first. His partner said, "I'm not interested in owning 100% of the company." So
Right.
he says, "Do you mind if I offer it to my sons?" And we all worked there. We're all managers of our respective departments. We had no day-to-day interactions really, which was fun because we would challenge each other as heads of departments whose department could do better. We kind of made
Yeah,
it
yeah, yeah. I mean, that's healthy.
it's
Yeah,
healthy competition for sure, and
that's right.
it kept it fun for us. And then in 2019, right before the pandemic, my father took his retirement, and the three of us became owner operators. Our first year as owners was the year of the pandemic, so we had to navigate that. And my role was overseeing finance and administration. So the numbers for the numbers really tell the story. The numbers tell how a business performs and how it has performed, and you can kind of make your decisions based on that. So it was really interesting. But to answer your question, growing up, my dad he's a traditional man of his baby boomer, where I want to say workaholic, but he was doing what he needed to do to provide for the family, and
Focus.
so
Yeah.
focused. And my mom was a stay-at-home mom; she was home with the four kids, and that was basically it. And that's very typical for our generation. That one parent was the earner, the other
Yeah.
was the nurturer, if you will. And I wanted to flip that on the head for my kids. I now work from home, so like I said, when it came back to the pandemic, I realized that I was out of the house 60 hours a week. Our office is an hour drive each direction, so that's 2 hours a day, 5 days
Mm.
a week. So that's 10 hours a week of driving minimum, plus the 40, 50, whatever hours in the office that it required to do my job, or that I
Right.
chose to, that I perceived I needed to do for my job. It's a perception.
Yes.
And I was never missing the big things, but I was missing a lot of the small things. I'd come home and my kids were growing inches by
Already
the
in
week. They
bed.
were learning new words, and my wife was home with them. We kind of mimicked that. We thought, based on social constructs, that's the way it was supposed to be.
Mm.
And we said, no, let's change this. So my wife now, she has a baccalaureate in business administration. She's an executive assistant, and she's a pilot. During the pandemic, she went and got her pilot's license.
No
Um,
way!
my wife is,
Pilot!
is my wife is a pilot now and wanting to become an airline pilot. And at the same time, I said, I'm going to leave the corporate world and start my own thing in coaching. So we've been in a lot of transition over the past 4 years.
I
It's been
love
fun.
that for you guys. Yeah, like I always wanted to become either a cardiac surgeon or a pilot. But I
Oh,
mean, both of them would require a lot of money. And at the
yeah.
time, I was 17, so my dad was like, can you like choose something that is, or the other option is I could get sponsored, but then I have to be bonded by the government. So I'm like, I want my freedom. So I went to the safe route and went ahead with my professional qualification. So yeah, chartered accountant, but now here transitioning to hypnotherapist.
That's a big
But I mean,
transition. And again, congratulations for that. It's such a fascinating field.
yes, and I think what moved me to change is because of my own trauma. So, just to share a bit, I had my own trauma in 2019 after my divorce, and then I threw myself into working full time. So I was like, and then it was pandemic, so back to back meetings. Like we couldn't adapt to the delineation between even dinner time and meeting time. So I think I had my burnout back in 2021. Then I had to sit with myself. Like I did not even grieve about my divorce. So it's like it's a double whammy for me. So 20 I took sabbatical, not long, 2 months, but it's just to reorient myself. And I was scared, so I didn't make the full jump. I wanted to take 1 year, but I'm like, I told my dad, how is this, like, you better don't quit before you have a new job. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna take 2 months unpaid leave and whatnot. So I went, and then I found a company which I am right now. And then the company it's somehow like, how do I say, it's not as cutthroat where I was before, because I was with one of the big fours. So this is where I was like trying to see what am I gonna do. And it's also a shift because this is a shared service center where I am now, and I have never done it before. So I was trying to figure out what I want for for at least the near future, but I knew that okay, at the same time I need to learn about this, but just enough. But it's not fulfilling. So I took that. I mean, this year, they had a reorg. So my boss, came. I think the stars aligned for me. She said that, okay, we're vacating your role. So, yeah, and I started my program last February as well. So, I mean, high time. It's a year and it's a 1 year. I could finish it within 6 months, but still, I was like, still 1 foot in, 1 foot out. So exactly what you said, you just need to sever that tie. And then, okay, next week, I'm gonna be on long leave for the next 2 months. So yeah, yes,
It's,
me telling you this, it's like trying to suit myself. Okay, you're really doing this.
so let me ask you a question then. So how do
Yes.
you, what kind of encouragement do you have around yourself?
Okay, so I have this my community of that therapy community. So I'm doing this course by Marissa Peer. I don't know if you've heard of it, Rapid Transformational Therapy. So I have been in contact with because before graduating we have to do our practice sessions at least 10 times, 15 times. So we've kind of built rapport around it. So that's one for somebody in the field itself, the one that I'm joining. So the second, I think the group is my sister. Yeah, my sister and my funny enough, my colleagues that where I'm in right now. The third one would be my parents. Though I don't live near them, they're far away, but I keep them updated on all this. And the fourth one, Andrew, believe it or not, people like yourself and all the other guests that I'm talking to. Because most of them are life coaches, business, career transition. Just yesterday, I interviewed a person. She's also an overachiever before. She experienced her own burnout and demanding jobs while juggling time with her two twin boys. And I was just telling her the same story, and she's like, "Okay, so have you got it settled? Have you got what about your website? What kind of programs are you offering?" And I'm like, "I haven't gotten them 100%, but I have like an idea." So, well, if you need me, I help people transition from 9 to 5 to setting up their own practice. And you just said it yourself. You do that as well. So I'm
I
like,
do,
I've got
yes.
abundance of options. I'm like, okay, thank you, God. So, having this, knowing that I could, it's just opening, just asking for help or just guidance. Sometimes it's a very difficult thing for me to do before, but right now I think God is saying, if I brought you to this, I will bring you through it. So it's that kind of mindset I'm putting myself in, and yeah,
You have your belief system, and it's important to have is to have a belief in what you're doing and where you're going. So
yeah,
there's two things I heard as one is, the importance of community for you. And I spoke on this very topic on a podcast last week, is the importance of surrounding yourself around people who are going to encourage you and pick you up, because they're going to have times where it's going to get tough and times you're going to
yeah.
have
When you have your
self-limiting beliefs.
emotional roller coaster, especially when I'm okay 9. Okay, so come 1st April, it's gonna be Monday of the first month that I'm gonna be unemployed, or I'm still on the
Yeah.
payroll, but still on leave. But it's like it's transitioning out from that emotion, that routine.
Mhm.
So it's like, okay, I can take it maybe 1 week. I had this vision in my head. Maybe 1 week it would be fine. Then what about second week? What about if I feel like I feel like I am my friends, my colleagues are working, but I'm not. So it's super important here, and I think here as well, and also the community. Yeah, and
Yeah,
believing.
it's super
Yeah,
important. Uh, you can reframe that in the sense that you are working, you're just working on yourself, and that's ultimately
exactly.
the best investment you
Yeah.
possibly can make, is investing in yourself.
Preach. Yes, yes. And I told myself, okay, just take it as you're working, but you're working for you. This is your legacy, you know? You're gonna be helping people. I mean, the very reason why I wanted to therapy, because I wanted to help men and women who went through, you know, some trauma of their own, and just have them show it to them that, you know, there's light at the end of the tunnel, and this is what life is when you've passed that Revan or something like that, you know. So it's, and it if that, if I can, if that is my anchor, then I think, you know, one step at a time, I'll get there. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. Well,
This is
it's
how
similar
I,
because the
yeah.
reason why I asked is about community and what encouragement you have is because I went through a similar process, right? And it
Right.
just, for the people
Right.
listening to this, it's saying that community is important, surrounding yourself. And you mentioned that even some of your colleagues that you're, you know, leaving, same thing happened for me. The colleagues that I'm leaving, when I told them I was leaving and why I was leaving, their first reaction was, "What? You're leaving?" But then when I said I'm
Exactly
leaving,
that. And they're worried, you know? They're worried like, um, did you resign? So I resigned again 1.5 weeks earlier because of the arrangement in the office. And then my friend in HR, whom I'm very close to, she's like, "You resign?" Yes. And then, "So what happens until you get a job?" I said, "Nothing. Just enjoy life." But I mean,
yeah,
inside
exactly.
I'm like, "Drrrr," but then, yeah. But seriously, this is my second sabbatical, and I'm like, okay, you're more than ready. Just do it.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
when they found out I was leaving, they actually doubled down in terms of how much they supported me and encouraged me. They all, every single one of them said, "I hear what you're doing, and you need to go do it, and whatever I can do to help you." I'm closer with some of them now than I was
Yeah.
6 months ago when I still work there. It's really funny how that works, but
Beautiful. Yeah.
without that encouragement and love, so I could only tell them. So I resigned. Like I said, it was a 2 year transition. For the first year and a half, I couldn't talk about it. The company didn't want
Yes.
to send the message out because they didn't want to create panic until we were
Yes.
ready. That
That's
was a
right.
very lonely year and a half because some of the people that
Oh.
I'm with them 40, 50 hours a week and I can't talk about it. And it's the most important thing happening in my life right now. And I
Yeah.
can't
Yeah.
talk
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
So the message is if you can talk about it, talk to as many people as you possibly can. And like you said, even
Yes.
guests that come in, like the most random people that don't
Yes.
owe you anything are going to give you their shirt off their back if they can because they're super generous with their
Thank you.
time.
Thank you. Yeah, it's like, again, this is like a reaffirmation that, okay, why I'm very open and public about this is just when I say it out, I hear it back. It's reflected back to me. Okay. And then it sinks in, right? And yeah. Yeah. Right. Okay. So, what steps should someone take to prepare themselves for a significant career shift?
Well, first is coming to terms that they're going to do it. So most people,
Mm.
when they're transitioning, let's assume for argument's sake, it's not an impulsive decision. They're not quitting out of emotion that they got in an argument with someone and they're leaving. Let's assume they've been sitting, working for the place for some time and something just feels off.
Mm.
And you know really deep down that there's a friction point within you that you don't know why. You're never motivated to go there. You know, you don't really enjoy it. You're not necessarily unhappy, but you're not fulfilled. You're not happy, and there's a big difference.
Right.
That has to happen first. The first thing has to be that shift in your body that says, okay, what should I be doing if it's not this? And
Yeah.
allow yourself in that moment to explore all possibilities and to not be married to the next one that pops into your mind.
Mm.
And the example I give is me with coaching. I didn't know I was going to go into coaching, but it ranked high on my evaluations. And my coach had been so impactful for me, so I said, I'll give it a try, but maybe it's going to lead me somewhere else, and that's okay. When you're
Yeah.
walking
Yeah.
down the
Yeah.
unpaved
That's so
road,
true.
you have to be open to all possibilities. So someone going through career transition, it's not just finding the next thing. It's just
Mm.
enjoying the process. It's where am I
Mm.
going to go and why am I going there? The why is big, right? And Simon Sinek, who's obviously a well-known public speaker, talks about your why. You need to know
Yeah.
your why. You need to know your values. You need to know what you want from life and what you want life to look like. Excuse me, and not just worry about. Not to say that financial stress is not important. It is.
Yeah. Yeah.
It
Of course.
exists.
Of course.
Let's assume,
Yeah.
but that can't be your sole motivator in life to say I need to pay the bills, because if you are, you're not going to be a very happy person.
That's true. You're just
You're going to
pushing through.
sacrifice a lot more than you're going to gain. So
Yeah.
the first thing I would say, this first step is really finding out what's your why, where you want to go in life, what do you want your life to look like, what's
Yeah,
going to
and I
make you.
that's true. And I think once you find that why, okay, and that why can change, you know. Again, be open to that possibilities. Like say, because this is something very close to me that I personally went through, and I want to help people, and the way that I do that is to get certified so that actually I can coach, walk through people, provide some help to people, and that say in the next 5 or 8 years or 10 years, my interest now changed to something else. That's actually fine, because to be honest, life doesn't stop until we stop living, right? I mean, yeah, I mean, paradoxically, living means you can live, but you can still die inside simply because you don't like what you're doing. So I told myself, okay, Nicolette, just give this a try first, you know. The next 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, if you, and of course you will need time. You will need time for it to get traction. So that's fine. And then 10 years, you say, I feel like I want to go into something else. Then, yeah, why not?
It's
Right?
okay.
Yeah,
That's a growth
that's
mindset.
completely.
The difference between a growth mindset and a fixed mindset, a growth mindset is you're constantly evolving, you're constantly investing in yourself, and it's okay to pivot in life.
Yeah,
The constant should never change is your integrity and your values
yeah, yes,
and your
yes,
happiness. And
that's true.
someone says, where do you want to be in 10 years? I want to be happy in 10 years. I'm happy today. I want to be happy in 10 years. What does that look like? I don't
Yes,
know.
I
I
think
don't
the
have a
key
crystal
thing
ball.
is you've got to be happy where you are. But if you're not happy because of your job, or I don't know, your relationship, anything, you have the key. Make that change. So yeah, it's very important for people to, but I can see now the world is shifting, especially Gen Zs. They're not the new generation coming up. Like you and I, we're millennials. We're starting to see the shift. Like, okay, we work for about what 10 years, a decade, and then okay, I want to try something new. What's the worst that can happen? Something like that. Yeah. Thank you, Andrew.
The second step
Yeah.
I would say, because
Yeah.
you asked me for steps, is the first one is that.
Yes.
The second
Yes.
one is what we were talking about before, is find your tribe, find your community of support, because not
Mm.
everyone in your community is going to understand what you're doing. That could be close friends, that could be family, and
Yeah.
that doesn't mean they don't love you and want the best for you. It just means that I don't really understand it. If I don't understand it, I can't help you. And
Mm.
there are people you mentioned, like going through the part of your community, and same with me with coaching, is the people that are going through something similar.
Mm.
It's other people in therapy or other coaches. For me, it was my coaching community. They were all in transition as well of some sort in their life. And so I clicked with them very quickly, and they became good friends. And they were the people who helped me get through some of the hardest points of the past couple of years, that of my wife and my coach, but not necessarily my closest friends. I had few friends that
Yeah.
were
That's so
very,
true.
very key
Yeah.
support, but not all of them. And you can't expect that from everyone. Not everyone
Yes.
is going to be everything to you all the time. And
Mm.
I have to remind myself there's a time and a place for everyone.
Yeah.
Um, so find the people that are going to be best for what you're trying to achieve in your transition.
Yeah.
That would be my
Yeah.
second step.
And yeah. And to continue accept them and love them for who they are, where they choose to be at the time you're making that pivot, because
Yeah.
they're not gonna understand your vision, they're not gonna understand your what are you trying to help, or the impact you're trying to bring. So, and it's okay, so everybody's on their journey.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So, how can someone identify when it's the right time to make a career transition? I think we sort of touched this, but yeah, but what is that?
The
Yeah.
emphasis is there really is a feeling inside that you know when you know. For me, it's something I thought about for a couple of years before I made the decision, because I was providing for my family, and I wanted to make sure I was in a position that was going to be good for them as well as for myself. You know, when you have
Yeah.
that responsibility.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but I was patient. and I was honest with myself and bold enough to finally make the move. But intuitively that something isn't right, something's not aligned with what you want out of your life, and sometimes that's just I want to change. Like I'm in a rut. I'm stagnant. I don't feel like I know what the next 3 weeks look like, the 3 months, 3 years. And some people just want to change, and that's okay. You can transition just strictly because life should be fun and should be. You shouldn't
Yeah.
know what the next 30 years looks like. If you do, then
Yeah,
that's
that
not for
is
me.
so
Put it that
true.
way.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
so there's this feeling internally that you need to sit with that for a while. Most people will snuff that voice out because oh that's scary.
It's
I'm
dangerous, it's
it's dangerous. It's too
risky. You're
risky.
gonna, yeah. What about you're already at this position, you're earning so much. Are you gonna throw that away and start from zero, start from scratch? And it's so I had the same epiphany where I said enough is enough because working at a certain place, brings prestige and whatnot. And I sort of tied my identity to that. And it was, oh, ah. I had to
Well,
work
I
through
did the
my
exact
own thing.
same. I labeled myself as a provider, and I was providing, and so I felt I had a badge of honor that could wear, saying I'm providing for my family. It's a great lifestyle. I mean, I was an owner of a business, good salary, dividends,
Yeah.
autonomy, and like I have what most
You
people
have
strive
every,
for,
yeah, yeah,
and
exactly.
but I wasn't feeling that fulfillment, and for me, that fulfillment is that seesaw was not balanced, and I want balance in
Mm.
my life. So there needs to be a blend of both. I hopefully, but again, sacrificing my time with my children and my wife for financial gain did not make sense to me. Did not make sense to me. Those
Yeah, because
about that time back.
imagine when we started working, we want to go up to certain ranks and have that financial gains to a certain level because we want to be with our family, or we want to be there and to have that gain or that resources already for you to have. But now it's if you're in it for too long, then you lose sight of the real reason why you started working in the first place. Like same for me, I've been away from my family for about, I don't know, since I was 17. So I'm now in Kuala Lumpur. My family's on the east side of the country. So 17. So I said to myself before, I remember leaving home, okay, I want to work, 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 and get that job, the whatever, the everything. And then it's so, I can tell you, I've only gone back at least once in a year. And it's a 3 hour flight. I mean, what am I doing? This is the whole reason why you want to work, because you want to provide, you want to give back to them, but then you're not spending time and they're getting old. They're getting older. So the logic is not, it's the math is not mathing. So I'm like, okay, you've got to make some changes here, Nicolette.
There's a bit of a social construct, right? That's been established over the years, and that is people work to make money, and we
Yes.
work till retirement. We work till we're 65. Some people later,
Yes.
and that's only getting pushed as time goes on, right? Retirement by the time we get up there is going to be 70 plus,
Yeah.
and that's when you start getting sick, and then unfortunately that's it.
Yeah. That's it.
That's it. So, and that's a social construct. People are okay with that because that's just the way life is. I choose otherwise. I choose to say, no, I don't want to live my life that way. And I want to live today because tomorrow's not guaranteed. I hate to say that
Yeah.
as a
Yeah.
cliche, but it is
Yeah.
true. Tomorrow's not
It's
guaranteed for any of
true.
us.
Yeah.
And so I choose to live today in a capacity that is meaningful for me and that energizes me and that I'm proud of it. I'm proud to say that I'm with my kids in the morning, at night, and I'm here
Yeah.
all the time. And
Exactly.
at a time, if they're young, they're gonna in 10 years they're not gonna live here anymore, and
That's
then
so true.
I'll
That is so
rediscover what I
true.
want to do in 10 years. But right now they're here.
Exactly. And you
There you
start
go.
start again. Yeah. I mean, like I've okay, so just now we were just talking about how what is my week gonna look like. So I'm like my day to day. So morning, finally I can get my 1 hour of running or my fitness and then start my thing at 10 and then get clients, this, and then I can actually stop work at the time that I want to stop work because that's the whole point.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
I call it life work balance instead of work life. No, I don't like that. Life comes first.
Yeah, life work
Yeah.
balance. I like that.
So right, Andrew, what is next for you? Right now, career transitioning, but what's next besides that, or is there anything that you have in mind? I don't know, books. I don't know.
Yeah. So I actually have a lot going on right now, which is a lot of fun. It's very exciting. So first off, career transitioning is only one type of coaching that I offer.
Okay.
Um, so I do life coaching as well as corporate programs and executive coaching. And the reason why, I'll tell you why. They're all intertwined.
Mm.
My mission is to make people live into a fulfilled life. We spend a third of our life at work. So if I
Yes.
can offer something to corporate environments that make the employees have a more enjoyable experience, then
Mm.
I'm going to focus on that. And I'm executive coaching. I want to work with leaders to get them to realize a lot of leaders, unfortunately, are not good managers. They're not good with their people interpersonal skills. It's not a
Yeah,
generic rule, but there's a lot out there. And so I want to work with executives to get them to, they're in a position of influence on their staff.
that's
And
true.
they
Yeah,
influence whether they can have a good experience or a bad
a
experience.
bad
So
experience. Yeah.
I want to focus on executives. I want to focus on the corporate environments. I want to focus on the individuals' careers, and I want to focus with them on their personal life. And all of this intertwined is to allow everyone to have a more authentic and more enjoyable life experience and live into that fulfillment and not settle, not become
Yeah.
complacent, and
Yeah.
to be bold enough to ask for what they want, be bold enough to make the moves that they want. Bold, someone asked me this last week, is bold necessarily big? And it can. I mean, we're both making a bold move, but which is a big move, but sometimes just saying no is a bold move. Sometimes
Yeah.
just asking for what you want, or telling someone this is how I want to be spoken to, or this is how I want to be, setting up boundaries. Those are all bold moves. We make small bold moves every day, but we don't categorize them as bold because
This is
society says
trivial. Yeah,
this is
this is
trivial, but
like
it's
a
not.
mundane day to day that I can. Oof, it's okay. And
But it's
any Tom,
not.
Dick, and Harry can. Yeah, they do that.
For someone who's a pleaser, right? Someone who always feels like they need to
Yeah.
sacrifice themselves to please
Yeah.
someone else, for them to have the ability to say no, I'm drawing a line in the sand. That's a courageous move. That's a bold move. And so I want to help people in that capacity. So what's next for me is that's my coaching practice. I am working on a book, my first book, and it's an anthology book. It's very, very early stages, but
Congratulations.
it's going to be a set of short stories that's going to talk about people leaving family businesses. You hear about all these books being talked about how to navigate and make family businesses work. I want to talk about the success stories of the people who left family businesses and lived into a more fulfilling life,
And thrive
um,
after
and
leaving.
thrive and inspire others to say, "Hey, I can do that too." And so I'm working on that book. I'm starting my first YouTube channel, which will be up and running in the next couple of weeks. So I'll be posting some helpful tips and tricks for listeners and audience out there, so they don't necessarily, coaching isn't accessible to everyone. They don't necessarily have the means for it, and so I
Yeah.
want to make some
Yeah.
of the
Yeah.
more
That's so
basic
true.
fundamentals available to
Mm.
them that they can refer to and say, okay, I can try applying this before spending money on one-on-one coaching or what have you. And yeah, I'm just trying to meet as many people as possible. That's really my what's making me happy these days is I'm in this business first and foremost for relationships and connections. I tell my clients and whoever I meet, if you once you have my number, you never lose it. We're on this journey together for life. I'm not. This is not a transactional. Yes, it's a business, and I'm going to make money. Yes, I need to provide for my family, but at the end of it, if I wanted to make money, I would have stayed in the corporate world. I was making good
Yeah.
money. There's
Yeah.
something much more at play here, and the money is a result of what will come down the road. But right now, I just want to build connections, meet people, be part of their story, in whatever way I possibly can.
I love that. Because believe it or not, we're in the people business wherever we are.
The people, life
Yeah.
is people business.
Yeah, life
At the
is
end of the
people
day,
business at the end
at
of
the
the
end of
day.
at the end of the day, you're known for
That
your
is so
relationships and
true.
your experiences.
Yes. Beautiful. I love that for you, Andrew.
Thank
Okay,
you.
so thank you. So we're going to pivot to a self worth question because, well, my podcast talks a lot about self worth.
Yes.
So, question for you is in your opinion, what role do societal expectations and external validation play in shaping our self-worth? And how can we break free from these influences and find our intrinsic value?
That's a wonderful question. The first part of the answer is too much. There's way too much influence on social norms and external expectations on people that we feel like we need to please other people in order to have some sort of self-worth. You know,
Yeah.
so the answer to that question is too much. the the way to break that cycle, it really comes to being confident with who you are, really coming to terms that you're who I am as a person, who I want to be, and living into that integrity. That is not easy to do. It takes courage. It takes a bold move or two. But it's about being honest with yourself. It's about living into that. And you know what? Those people that have those expectations on you, are they playing a purpose in your life? Are they in service of you? You might have to establish boundaries. You might have to establish or get rid of some tolerations that you're living with. You might have to cut a person or two out of your life. I've had to make that unfortunate decision that, you know, someone's
Yeah.
not good for me and
Yeah.
they're not helping me live into who I want to be. And
Right.
so sometimes it's creating space between that. It's not an easy thing to do, but it's definitely where life is worth living. It's when you realize that you are a human being, you are authentic. There's only one of you. And so you're beautiful the way you are and live into that. But it takes a good community of people around you because life is a lonely game if you're not surrounded by amazing people who are constantly encouraging you and supporting you. And it takes a moment of reflection to say, what do I want out of my life?
Thank you. It was a wonderful sharing. So what is your heart's greatest wish?
Ooh, another good question. My heart's greatest wish. You know, I think at the end of the day, I think it would be a beautiful world if everyone could just allow themselves to be more vulnerable and communicate that vulnerability, you know, and able to show up the way you are and how you're feeling and to communicate that, not be shy to communicate it to anyone in your, whether it be in a professional setting, personal setting, and say, this is what I'm feeling. This is how I am right now. This is what I'm going through in my life. I think the world would be a better place. As long as people are willing to listen to understand and not listen to respond.
To respond,
you know,
yeah.
People aren't looking for your solutions. They're just looking for you to listen.
Listen.
So if I, you know, my heart's biggest wish is that my daughters can grow into a world that they can show up vulnerable and authentic and not be fear of being judged or being ostracized in any way, shape, or form. So I think it starts with just being vulnerable. And people look at that as a weakness. That's a strength. If you can be vulnerable and communicate what you're feeling, that's a strength.
Thank you.
Thank you. That was a good question.
Do you have a mantra that you live by?
I don't know if it's a mantra. There's a quote by Jim Rohn that I used over the past couple of years to help me get through my transition. And happiness is not by chance, it's by choice. And realizing that the power of choice, everything we do in life is a choice. We don't have to do anything. And that's one thing my life coach, if I can leave that as a tip here, is my life coach said, get rid of that word in your vocabulary. You know, you don't have to do anything. You choose to do it. You don't have to work here. You don't have to.
I love that. Yeah. Have to. Yes.
Get rid of
because
that.
I want to.
I want to.
Yeah.
And when you finally say, I want to do this, you get excited saying, well, this is something I want. I'm excited. And the energy, the whole perspective shifts in that moment. And so happiness is not by chance, it's by choice.
Ooh, I got to remove that from my own vocab.
Yes.
Is there anything that keeps you up at night, or do you sleep well?
I sleep very well.
Perfect.
I mean, my daughters do tend to come into our bed at night, so sometimes I get a need in the back and that wakes me up. But other than that,
right.
I sleep very well at night. I honestly, I haven't felt. I used to wake up in stress sweats and say, okay, I have so much going through my mind. I got to get this done. I have to do this. I have to do this.
Again, I have to. Right. I have to. Oh gosh.
If I don't do it, who will? Right?
Though, like the world will.
Like the world will end. 100%.
Exactly. Yes. Sorry, you were saying.
Yeah. So now I don't have that anymore. Not to say that there's not challenges. Every day has challenges. I'm an entrepreneur. There's challenges to that as well. but it's an enjoyable. I'm allowing myself to enjoy the process. I'm
It's
not stressing on
beautiful.
the result. I'm enjoying the process, and so I sleep well at night.
Yeah. So like the post from Gary V, I saw it one day. He's got two of the globe, the world if you overthink and the world if you don't overthink. It's the same thing.
Exactly. It doesn't
Exactly.
change.
It
It
doesn't
doesn't.
change. Yeah. So, okay, last quote, Andrew. So, if you could create a quote right now for you to leave to the audience listening and the world as your legacy, what would it be?
Oh my goodness, that's me to quote now.
Yes, people can quote you after this.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Yeah,
That's the stuff.
dash
I'm gonna find
Andrew
this.
Beaulieu.
I'm gonna find myself on some memes.
Yeah,
I'm gonna steal someone else's. I can't create my own. I'm gonna share another
sure.
quote with you that I think is just really powerful, and that is, "Fear is temporary, regret is forever." That's
Oh,
not mine. So, but it's what I want to leave with people.
yeah. I mean, it's the same thing with everything. Fear is temporary. Just make the jump. Or regret if you choose to stay in something and will regret by not by that lost time. Or anything could happen, right? Something could happen to your family or whatnot, and you regret for not taking the steps earlier when you had the chance. So
Yeah,
thank you. What a way
thank you.
to wrap our conversation today. Thank you so much for your insights.
Thank you, Nicolette, for having me again. It's been a fun conversation. The hour flew by. Um,
Yeah.
I hope to do it again sometime.
Yes, yes,
And
we'll
best of
do.
luck. Best of luck in your own transition. And
Thank you.
congratulations again.
Thank you so much. And if I ever need some coaching myself, I would definitely reach out to you. I think we're connected on LinkedIn.
You have my access to my website. You can go through
Yes.
my website to get in touch with me, or through LinkedIn. Absolutely, through LinkedIn works as well.
Yeah. All right. Perfect. Thank you so much, Andrew. You
Thank
have
you.
a beautiful day and a beautiful life ahead. I wish you all the best. Thank you. You too. Bye bye. So, shall we start?
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me again.
Thank you so much for saying yes. So, how do I pronounce your surname? Is it Beaulieu? Beaulieu?
Beaulieu.
Sorry?
Beaulieu. Beaulieu. So think like a bow tie, bow, B O
Uh-huh.
W, and then
Beau?
in lieu of something. So
Oh,
Beaulieu.
in Lear. Beaulieu.
There you go. Perfect.
Andrew Beaulieu. Okay. Okay. I
That's it.
hope I don't stumble upon my words. Which part of the world are you in right now, Andrew?
I'm in Montreal,
Canada.
Canada. Yeah.
All right. I am from Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. Nice to meet you.
From where? Sorry.
Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia.
Oh, Malaysia. Very cool.
Yes, yes, yes.
Nice.
Have you been to Asia?
I have not yet been to Asia.
Yet. Yeah, I think the key word is
Not
yet.
yet.
I haven't been
That's
to
right.
the US as well. So yet. So now that I've started this podcast too, so it's there. It's coming.
You can take it on the road. Yeah.
Yes. So all right, I think we can start.